Today it is Monday the 12th of January. It's pre-CPI and no news Monday. It was always going to be a shambles today on the markets. Today I ended up taking 3 trades. 1 break even, 1 loss, and another break even. So let's get into how I took these trades. Today's direction was clear once it was confirmed. We were bullish. We were always going to be bullish after having this massive 5-minute displacement candle through all of these highs. So a little bland description of the trades I took. First trade I took, break even, stopped out within like 1 minute because I followed my risk plan and I was adjusting my risk accordingly. I was placing my stop loss where price should not return to, and if it did return to, then so be it. First trade ended up being a break even. Second trade, extremely avoidable. I ended up just getting stopped out straight away, and I kind of entered due to FOMO, but on the other side, I kind of had some conviction at the same time. But yeah, with today being pre-CPI and no news Monday, it was always going to be a shambles on the markets. It was always going to be a shambles. There was no clear draw after hopping on. But I ended up taking 3 trades on my fresh 5 top set combines. In total, I'm down $600 on each of the accounts. I took 3 trades, 1 break even, 1 loss, and then another break even. So let's get into the day. Here are the trades. The first trade I took was my best trade of the day. Naturally, it is not an incredible trade, and honestly, I was going into these 5 accounts with the perspective that if you wouldn't take a trade on your Express account, you're not going to be taking it on your evals. But at the end of the day, these evaluations are traded, well, they're going to be traded fast. They're going to be traded heavy risk in a way. So going into the day and going into the week and going into these accounts, I was always going to risk $500, and then if that trade lost, I was going to risk $250 on the next one. Now, I didn't quite stick to that risk plan, but first trade I entered was risking $500, stopped out at break even. Second trade I entered risking $500 because I still had $500 to trade. That ended up getting stopped out straight away, unfortunately. It was a very avoidable trade to take. I had some attachment to the trade working out, but at the same time, the trade was there. Maybe I could have risked better. Maybe I could have had a wider stop loss, but yeah, stopped out straight away in that trade. Traded the consolidation right here. I ended up moving my stop loss to break even straight away, or as fast as I could, because I was already down $500 on the day. And yeah, I ended up getting stopped out there. So in total, I'm down $600. Here are the executions, break even, loss. So let's get into the day. All right, today is a no news Monday. It's pre-CPI. You can expect liquidity to be generated, aka you can expect a continuation to be very probable. You can expect price to continue in. I don't understand why on earth the chart does this. Like, Top Step, just fix your shit, man. You got a bad enough platform as it is. Anyway, going into the day, you can see pretty evidently that price was ideally going to go to the upside because we've got all of this buy side liquidity. But at the same time, we've got all of this sell side liquidity. So the whole aim of today was either to just take the day off or take it slow, see the direction that was confirmed, and then just trade that. So that's exactly what I did. Up on 9:30 open, price had a massive displacement to the upside, initiating that it was literally just going to run up. Because look, people, if you've got market experience, you'd understand if we have a 5-minute candle to the upside like this, no news has caused it, nothing has caused it, just pure volume and pure just banks buying. the market has no reason to go to the downside after that. After we open up here, we have got no reason to go to the downside. We've got so much buy side liquidity resting above, internally and externally, that it is just evidential we're going to be buying. So after this 5-minute candle was printed, a 5-minute for value gap was opened up. Unfortunately, this was the first trade of the day that I ended up missing out on capitalizing on. But I mean, at the same time, I faded it because I wasn't really feeling it. But should I have taken it? Probably. So the thoughts behind this trade was we got a 5-minute for value gap opening up. ES didn't end up retracing into it, creating a internal S&T. ES also left this low resting, creating another S&T. Now, naturally, I wouldn't really count this S&T, but the 5 one is kind of valid. Anyway, price was evidential that it had all of the reasons to move to the upside, and that's why it did end up moving to the upside. But at the same time, it's sloppy conditions, it's choppy conditions, and probability is against you. So I ended up fading that trade. Now, it's kind of the same bias with the first trade that I ended up taking. Like, we've got a massive displacement to the upside. We've got a confirmed bullish trend with buy side liquidity resting, retrace into a imbalance and reject to the upside. That is kind of the exact bias with this trade. Obviously, there's a very different thought process, but price ended up running to the upside again, leaving opening gap range, leaving high of day, leaving all of this liquidity still resting on the table. So naturally, what am I going to be doing on the charts? How do I get into a trade? I need to see a CISD, a confirmed drawn liquidity, internal manipulation, and an S&T. S&T is here with ES. We had a continuation to the upside, and ES respected that low by not taking it. We got the S&T on the table. Now we've got the confirmed drawn liquidity on the table as well. We've got none of this high time frame buy side liquidity having been taken. So that's 2 ticked off. Now we've just got to wait for an internal CISD or an external CISD and internal manipulation. So after the 5-minute candle ended up closing above this 5-minute down close candle, it was pretty evidential that we had a pretty good chance to continue to the upside off of this fair value gap. So I waited for my internal manipulation, having that being the last thing on my list that I needed ticking off. We ended up getting that right here. Price ended up bouncing off of this 5-minute for value gap. People end up entering long here or here, putting their stop loss at this low. Of course, you're going to get stopped out straight away. So me having been in that situation so many times where I'm the one who places my stop loss here after expecting a big bounce off of the fair value gap, I ended up waiting so that I could get a better entry, but at the same time wait for everything that I needed to see on the markets before making a move. So going into this trade, we had our internal manipulation. That was the last thing we needed. I ended up entering in, following my risk plan to the T, $500 risk, moving stop loss to break even as soon as possible. And yeah, move stop loss to break even after this break even was hit. And yeah, got stopped out of that, unfortunately. But anyway, we live. I mean, we live to trade another day at the end of the day, but fucking hell, man. I'm so like, I barely drank today. I just feel so odd when I make these videos. That's just me complaining. I mean, hopefully I'm not just blatantly wasting my time speaking to the camera. Hopefully someone can get something out of this video. Hopefully the majority, if not some, of the percentage of people who watch this video actually understand what I'm talking about, because man, it kind of plays with me sometimes. All of this shit, like, I feel weird on the camera right now, and I can't really get my thought process out how I would want to be. I can't really explain everything how I would want to explain it, but anyway. Okay, so after seeing that price was just fluctuating a lot in this range, me still having a bullish bias was on the table, but I would have to see some kind of confirmation that we were going to continue to the upside instead of just chopping around for the next half an hour. So after seeing all of these candles get put in, we did end up having an S&T at the lows with ES running lower. And at this point, we were still in OTE of the range. We had ended up tapping 0.62 and just rejected to the upside, but that just wasn't enough for me. Price still had internal manipulation. Oh, what am I talking about, man? Yeah, man, I mean, sticking with the bullish bias in this whole shebang here, because opening at range hadn't been taken, no high time frame draws on liquidity had been taken. I was like, cool, I'm just going to wait for continuation. I'm going to wait for confirmation that price is going to continue to the upside, and we got that. Price ended up breaking 1 minute structure to the upside right here. I didn't enter off of that straight away. As we can see, price ended up coming straight back down to 50% of this newly made range. But cool. Price ended up making its way back to the upside at this point. Now is the time to shine. Now it just looks like cool. Price has got so many highs still on the table. We've just broken structure again on the 5 minute chart, and we've got all the reason to go to the upside. We've got no reason to take out these lows. I ended up entering in long. This was the very avoidable trade. Now, I got stopped out straight away because I was a bit impatient with it. But anyway, I didn't really want to break my rules, so I ended up going in initially into this trade, this second trade, this loss. I ended up, I feel like I'm just chatting shit, man. I feel like I'm just chatting shit. Anyway, let's get this over quickly because this is just pointless, I think. If it's not, comment down below if this is actually helpful or something along those lines, because I actually need to know, like, the self-doubt is unreal doing this shit. Cool, I ended up taking a loss there, pulling the trade, initially with the stop loss being at that low, but price just swept below it straight away, and I ended up pulling it right there for a loss of $570. So at this point, I don't know why on earth my mouse is bugging, but anyway, after price had just come down to 50% of this newly made range again, price continued to the upside. I didn't get an entry here. I didn't get an entry here. I didn't get an entry here. I ended up entering right here with a reasonably wide stop loss, but at the end of the day, I didn't actually set the stop loss once on this trade until it went to break even. So the trade idea was risk $500, TP at the opening gap range, and yeah, move stop loss to break even as soon as possible, which now I've been shown was not the best idea because price was clearly just fucking everyone in the arse today. Price was literally just getting people to move their stop loss to break evens and then just break evening them and continuing to the upside. But anyway, unfortunately, I moved my stop loss to break even here. Bang, stopped out straight away. And I ended up getting the urge to full pot a trade at that point. I ended up getting the urge to just go in with 50 micros and just throw everything in the bin. And obviously, I'm not in a position where I want to be wasting the money that I bought these accounts with. I've already gone through 4 accounts since I blew my 3xpress accounts, but I feel like I'm chatting shit right now, so let's just end it here. I appreciate everyone for watching. If you did watch to the end, give me some constructive criticism because I feel like I'm chatting out my arse. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I want to hear it from someone else, so I'll see you tomorrow.